Mark, a junior analyst, stayed late to finish a report in a quiet Seattle office. At 3 a.m., the city skyline was dark outside, and the silence was oppressive, broken only by his computer's hum. The lights flickered, and a chill ran through the room, his breath visible. His keyboard clacked, typing "stay" on the screen. Mark froze, thinking it was a prank, but the office was locked, and he was alone. A feminine whisper said his name, coming from the break room. He checked the security cameras, but they showed static. The air grew heavy, and a shadow moved in his peripheral vision, vanishing when he turned. Files from decades ago appeared on his screen, unopened. Mark rebooted his computer, but it powered onto a black screen with white text, "Stay with me." The whispers grew, "Finish the work." His chair creaked, as if someone sat in it, and his mouse moved, opening files about a failed 1987 merger. A woman's figure appeared in the monitor's reflection, her suit outdated, face blurred. Mark spun around, but no one was there. The lights dimmed, frost forming on the windows, and the whispers said, "You're part of it now." His keyboard typed nonsense, and a cold hand brushed his neck. Coffee spilled on his desk, forming a face, its eyes staring at him. Mark tried to leave, but the office door was locked, the keycard reader dead. The woman's figure appeared at the room's far end, typing on an invisible keyboard, her head twitching unnaturally. The whispers chanted, "Stay and work." Papers flew from desks, forming a whirlwind of old memos signed by Elaine. His phone died, and the lights flickered, her shadow growing larger on the walls. A video played on his computer, showing a woman screaming in a burning office. Mark realized Elaine died in a fire that destroyed the building's old wing. The air grew thick, and the woman moved closer, her eyes black voids, hands reaching. The computer screen filled with impossible tasks, balance sheets from 1987, memos in gibberish. Mark's hands typed against his will, guided by Elaine's voice. "Finish it." The office warped, desks rearranging, walls closing in. Shadows of other workers appeared, their faces blank, typing endlessly. The air smelled of smoke, and the windows cracked, revealing a fiery glow outside. Mark grabbed a flashlight, its beam burning Elaine's form, but she laughed, her voice echoing in his skull. The papers formed a vortex, pulling him toward the desk. He fought, smashing the keyboard, but it reassembled, the screen glowing brighter. Mark ran to a cubicle, hoping to hide, but the walls pulsed, closing in. The whispers became a chorus, "Work forever." Filing cabinets rattled, spilling documents that formed Elaine's face on the floor. Her figure appeared through the cubicle's partition, her eyes glowing brighter. Mark's flashlight flickered, revealing old photos of the office, showing Elaine smiling, then burning. The air grew colder, and the documents levitated, circling him. Elaine's voice said, "You belong here." The cubicle walls shook, and the papers cut his skin, cold as ice. Mark screamed, banging on the partition, but it burned his hands, the office twisting around him. The cubicle collapsed, and Mark stumbled back to his desk, Elaine waiting by the monitor. Her form flickered, revealing a charred face, and she spoke. She died in a fire during a late shift, her work unfinished, trapping her spirit. The papers pulsed, faces screaming, and the shadows grew, their hands clawing. Mark saw flashes of the fire, flames engulfing Elaine, her screams echoing. The air grew suffocating, and Elaine's hand gripped his wrist, burning cold. The monitor's glow formed a door, pulling him toward it, the shadows chanting his name. Mark fought, his vision blurring, as the office seemed to burn around him. The office looped, bringing Mark back to his desk. Elaine's form grew larger, her eyes black voids, growling, "You're ours." The desks pulsed, monitors flickering, and the shadows merged into a writhing mass. Mark's flashlight dimmed, and the papers spilled, forming a pool that trapped his feet. He saw flashes of other workers, all trapped, their faces in the screens. The air grew thick, smelling of ash, and Elaine's laughter echoed, her form flickering between the desk and the door. Mark fought, swinging the flashlight, but the mass closed in, their hands freezing his skin. The monitors erupted in virtual flames, forming a wall that blocked the exit. Elaine's form towered, her hands typing, sending code that cut like knives. The shadows chanted, "Work forever," their faces twisting into grotesque masks. Mark's vision blurred, his body heavy, as the office seemed to breathe, its walls pulsing. He threw a chair, which passed through Elaine, but his flashlight's beam burned her form, making her shriek. The paper pool grew, pulling him down, and the shadows climbed the walls, their hands reaching from above. Mark screamed, fighting to stay upright, the flames closing in. Mark yanked free, grabbing a fire extinguisher from the wall. He sprayed it, the foam disrupting Elaine's form, scattering the shadows. The flames faltered, and the paper pool receded, the faces fading. Mark swung his flashlight, its light burning Elaine's form, making her scream louder. The office groaned, the desks shaking as if in pain. He ran for the door, the extinguisher's foam keeping the shadows at bay. Elaine's form flickered violently, her voice a roar, "You can't leave!" Mark kicked the door, which cracked open, Dawn's light seeping through, weakening her grip. As Dawn's light flooded the office, Elaine's form dissolved, her screams silenced. The monitors went dark, and Mark stumbled into the hall, the door slamming shut behind him. The papers were normal, but "stay" remained in ink on a memo. He quit, learning later of a manager named Elaine who died in a fire, her work unfinished. Mark still hears typing in his dreams, and sees glowing eyes calling him to return, the office's hum lingering in his mind. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated with more amazing stories coming your way. Join our community and never miss an adventure.